So this weekend I was at the Georgia State Championship and I found this book by, here it's written I am John Donaldson, but I think Donaldson is a grandmaster now. Maybe he wrote it when he was an international master. And I know that he knows everything about Fischer because he has done extensive research. This book it's really interesting because it says the Unknown Bobby Fischer is really 4 books in one. Part 1 is a detailed book at Fischer, detailed look at Fischer formative years when he went from a struggling Class B player to US champion in the space of 2.5 years. And I want to start to show you the game number 1 of this book, that it was played in 1953. 1953, Fischer was 10 years old. Fischer is black, it's played in Brooklyn and it's a blitz. The white player is Dan Myers. The chess set that we are using, I think it's a reproduction of a chess set used in the Spassky-Fischer match in 1972. So here you have it, okay? So Dan Myers plays e4, Fischer plays e5, f4, e takes f4, and bishop c4. Here it says the bishop's gambit is a line that Bobby was to make his own in the future. He played it twice in tournament games, beating Grandmaster Evans and Minnick, and countless times and countless times during his 1964 Simul tour. His interest in free bishop c4 didn't wane with the years, when he faced the Greenblatt computer in 1977. He trotted out the bishop gambit to win a miniature. Bobby wrote his famous article, A Bust to the King's Gambit, American Chess Quarterly, 1961, advocating bishop f3, knight f3 and d6. A year after his tough loss to Boris Spassky in Buenos Aires, 1960. Okay. Now, it seems that here we have a Chicago Simul, but I don't think he gave all the game, so if you don't mind, guys, I would just show you this game. Because I'm interested in that, and eventually after I can show you another game played by Fischer in 1954, so it's just 11. Of course you cannot expect that he was good in that time, okay, but it's interesting that Donaldson was able to find this kind of game that nobody would know, right? Because it's a blitz, so someone must have written it out, and when he was 10 it shouldn't have been famous, so but I don't know. So after bishop c4, knight f6, knight c3, c6, d4, bishop b4, e5, knight e4, queen h5, obviously there is a possible checkmate on here, castle, knight g e2, d5, and here he plays bishop b3, g6, queen h6, bishop g4, bishop d2, knight takes on d2, king takes on d2, and here there is g5 supporting this and kind of starting to take away a lot of squares, but still has this. Okay, h4, g takes h4, rook takes h4. Wow, now there is a problem. Bishop f5, rook a h1. Now we start to go back, but it's a little late, I think. Rook g4, bishop g6, and of course, guys, I think you can guess the checkmate at this point, because it's based on the idea that when a piece is pinned, in reality it's not defending anything. And the checkmate is here. Queen takes h7, checkmate. Now I want to show you guys another game, because it's just very, very fast, it seems, by Fischer, that is white. And this is very interesting because he doesn't play e4. So as we can see, Fischer is young, is looking for his identity as chess player, and he tries different openings, quite different from when he was set in 1e4, the best by test, which means he made the test. So Bobby Fischer is white, the black player is Jacob Altuski, played in Brooklyn, offhand December 1954 or January 1955. Fischer plays d4. Here it says no 1e4. Several years were to pass before Bobby started to consistently open with pawn king 4. 6 months after this game, at the US Junior in Lincoln, Nebraska, Fischer was opening with 1e4, but hadn't progressed to his later standard Ruy Lopez. Okay, so after d4, g6, c4, knight f6, knight c3, bishop c7, e4, the King's Indian defense, castle, bishop g5, d6, knight f3, knight b, d7. Nowadays probably you would see something more like c5 because you attack the center, or h6 to ask him what he wants to do, right? Okay, but Altuski played knight b d7. So how did Altuski lose this game? Here we go. e5, d takes e5, d takes e5, knight g4, knight d5, and here there is a big blunder. Big. Can you imagine? Knight g takes e5, yeah. Obviously this is the answer, knight takes e7, and I think you can see the rest, right? Because he has to move the king, but then there is a discovery check. And after he takes and white takes the queen, black realize that it's over. But this is not the end, guys, because there is another game of Jacob Altuski, this time white, in which he wins even faster than, in which Fischer wins even faster than in this game, because in this game it took 12 moves, the next it's just 8. So Fischer is black. I will let you see it from the white side that loses, so we can see it fast because here it's late in the night. I don't want to transform myself into a pumpkin, and I think the midnight is approaching. So Jacob Baltuski is white, Fischer is black, always Brooklyn offhand, December 1954 or January 1955. Altuski plays e4, Fischer e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, a6, bishop f4, d6, d4, b5, bishop b3, and now there is a mistake, which is bishop g4. How do you take advantage of this? You should, guys, pause the video and try to guess, because bishop g4, it's a mistake. But in order to play it right, you need to play d takes e5, knight takes e5, then there is knight takes e5 again, bishop takes d1, bishop takes f7, king e7, and then you have knight c6 check. Eventually, guys, try to analyze it by yourself, but I hope you were able to visualize. Instead, Altuski makes a blunder, terrible blunder. He plays bishop takes f7. And after king takes f7, knight g5, guess what? What do you think black did? Black played, boom, queen takes g5. And so, as you can see, here there is a problem. Because if he plays this, the other guy plays this, okay? So, when you take, you're still piece down, and then, of course, you have your king there. But notice that now black gets another pawn, right? So he has gained an entire piece for free. And this concludes this little excursion in this new book that I found. It's not new, obviously, by the way, because it was published when? In 1999. So yeah, definitely not a new book. It's a 26-year-old, but it's an interesting book full of games that probably you have not seen anywhere, and which were collected by Donaldson. So that's why it's worth it, and that's why I got it immediately when I saw it. By the way, I didn't pay nothing for this book and the other, because I gave the owner a plastic box, one of these nice plastic box where you put the books. So that was the reason. And so it was a great to banter this thing, these two books. Now I show you also the other book, which is a book about Pardee. And you can see it here, how Pardee won. You see, it was on sale, but I didn't pay anything. The Correspondent Chess Career of a World Champion. This book is good because there are about 40 games by Pardee, very well analyzed, and it tells you a lot of stories about correspondent chess in, obviously, the 1950s. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.